February 18th, 2022. What's up, boys? I got Dennis, I got Team Pixel, and Running Flame with me tonight. We were just talking about cable, home internet, fiber in the backstage, and here we are. We'll just let the conversation spill over. So Running Flame and Dennis were discussing. I mean, we all have prior experiences with companies, and we all use home internet. Continue, guys. Continue your conversation.
Well, as a little bit of backstage, I guess we should probably allure here. I was on the Reddit, and I saw that on the Verizon subreddit, someone posted an article from Fierce Wireless that Verizon is going to be using NGPON 2, which is going to allow for 40 gigabits per second over fiber, which was exciting. And Running Flame, who is someone that I have talked to many a time in Twitter Spaces, was essentially saying, you know, this is why he believes fiber is going to be the best thing long term, and I was agreeing with him on that. But then when we were talking, I was basically saying that I don't necessarily think cable companies are victimless in what they do, but I will always argue that they will deliver the performance that they say they're going to deliver. And that was where we ended before going into the stream, essentially. Does that sound like a pretty good synopsis, Running Flame, or did I misquote you anywhere?
Yeah, that seems like a pretty good synopsis. But I will agree, cable companies, the one good thing I'll say there, customer service-wise, is they do contractually guarantee 80% of speeds in most cases, rated versus delivered. So DSL, aside from slower nominal speeds, the big issue there is range. So if you get about 1,000 feet or more away from the hub they're running service from, DSL speeds drop off a cliff, and that's even more true of VDSL. Cable companies don't have that same issue. They do have shared speeds in a way, but I don't think they've ever been as bad as DSL there. My main argument was I don't think cable companies are going fast enough on DOCSIS deployment when the new standards come out. And I also think their own billing practices with the magically exploding bill after 12 to 24 months is really going to put some nails in their coffin.
I mean, I don't disagree with you that their billing practices are terrible, and this is bad for all of telecom. I mean, the fact that they have prices being different depending on the house that you live in and the promo prices and everything else, like, not disagreeing with you on any of that. As far as the shared bandwidth goes, if you have a residential service, period, it's going to be shared bandwidth at some point. That's just the nature of residential services, even for fiber. And what was the third thing that you said? I'm sorry.
Oh, I think just the speed of DOCSIS deployment. So 3.1 and especially DOCSIS 4 are exciting in terms of the capabilities that they offered for the time they're released. But the issue is cable companies take several years to deploy new standards.
I mean, as far as the speed of deployment goes, I mean, obviously we want to see it faster, but realistically speaking, there are things, mainly it's consumers that hold back upgrades from happening. I mean, the fact that cable companies still to this day have to support old school DTA boxes on TV, like, that's a limiting factor, right? There's obviously the supply side of things. I mean, DOCSIS 3.1 is a fairly recent, relatively speaking recent. I want to say it was like 2017 that became a standard, and equipment didn't become wide scale until like 2018. So, like, I think they're moving at a relatively okay pace. I mean, they've been moving faster than fiber providers have. I mean, Verizon, up until just now, has been using old school Gen 1 GPON, just original generation of GPON. They didn't do any upgrades after that. Now they are, but they waited a decade and then some before making a move. So
the only thing I'm going to say is at the rate they're going, we're going to have more millimeter wave coverage than we are going to be new cable standards.
So that depends also on whether you're...
If I could kind of come in on this, nobody trusts cable to deliver. You know, like, we'll take it if we get it, but I just think the expectations are so low, and then the trust is just absent. There's just a lot of people that don't think it's going to happen in a time frame. So I'm kind of with Running Flame on this. I just see it as they're late to the party already. It's still not on market. They've been talking about it for several years. Like, we've been hearing about fixed wireless, and it's been out for about a year. Like, T-Mobile was in
Is
beta
it?
or whatever.
Is it though?
I
Is it
mean, yeah.
actually out?
I mean, what has been the number one restriction of fixed wireless? It's been capacity, and carriers now have it. And boom, instantly, the carriers get capacity. Fixed wireless access can scale. Meanwhile, cable operators have done nothing to address their uplink. And I'm not digging for an excuse. Like, what can you think of to defend that? But I'm just saying that now they care because dedicated fiber companies and fixed wireless access are eating their lunch.
So, you can agree to disagree with me on this, but I say fixed wireless access is still a beta product. Because realistically speaking, on the T-Mobile side, the service is subpar, and there's no other way to phrase it. I mean, packet
Dennis,
loss.
why don't you hit this super chat for me, please?
Sure.
Thanks.
So Santiago, thank you for the super chat. He says, or it's a sticker of a hippo character spinning around in his chair.
Super sticker. Okay, thanks, Santiago. Appreciate it.
But yeah, I mean, T-Mobile, definitely beta product. I mean, the Nokia gateway was, by all intents and purposes, trash. You got the packet loss issues. In the areas where they do market it, they are taking a similar approach to what Starlink does, where they only allow so many subscribers and they cut it, and that was verified by Carlos. And then as far as Verizon goes, trying to get Verizon fixed wireless, and I'm not referring to their LT product. I'm talking about their 5G, like the C-band stuff. Like, that is incredibly difficult. And then the ultra wideband, like the true millimeter wave stuff, is in like what 0.1% of the country. Like, is it actually like full fledged, or are we still talking like early rollout here?
This is so. I can promise you that fixed wireless access will be better 1 year from now than cable was 5 years ago, which had already been out for 3 decades.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying,
and that's what should terrify the cable companies.
Exactly.
Because I agree, it's a beta product. It's a beta product, but they're already taking meaningful share, and they're already getting good performance in a lot of ways. So Dennis is correct in that it is incremental cellular capacity. So they're not going to prioritize fixed wireless over their cell plans.
Yes,
because they use a lot more data and they make less.
But is it going to be better
than cable in most parts of the country? Yes.
And it doesn't really have to be better, Dennis. It has to be comparable and competitive. Like, we can, I'll give you the fact that proper operational cable is really good. But these companies are just awful, and they're I mean, you want to talk about watching paint dry, waiting for DOCSIS 4.0. We got the bearded dragon in the house.
What's up, Pete?
What's up, Pete?
Ahoy, Pete.
I'm going to make a bet here, and that is, I think non-terrestrial production 5G networks will be available before DOCSIS 4.0 is widespread.
Yeah, man.
I think I would agree on that too.
I might agree, but I wouldn't bet on it.
I didn't say how much now, Pete.
I mean, look, I'm gonna lay it out like it is. The groundwork for DOCSIS 4.0 to happen has already been happening. Like, it's been actively happening. We've seen amps being ripped out and going into node to N3, node 0 in some circumstances, depending on the operator. We've seen fiber get deeper. We've seen the acquisition of the necessary equipment that will be necessary to deploy. We've seen focuses on removing customers off of legacy TV boxes to free up the spectrum on the coax. Like, it is clear that the operators have been actively working on this for quite some time. When do I think DOCSIS 4.0 will be a thing? Probably not till 2024. Like, That's probably when it actually becomes something that's like massive. The switch gets lit, and it's probably going to be available in, we'll call it, I'll say 60% of whoever that provider's footprint is, because rural Americans always end up getting forgotten by pretty much every corporation.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. All that's fine and dandy, and I'm great. They're making progress, I guess. But at the end of the day, when am I going to see it at my home, 20 miles away from a suburban market? Probably never.
You'll see it eventually, but it'll be years. In the same way that you will, in the
I
same
might
way
be
you
bald by the time it gets here.
But in the same way, I mean, I could make that same argument with fixed wireless. In the same way that you won't see DOCSIS 4.0, you won't ever see millimeter wave, like, or
No,
by the time you do,
I might see C-band, but that might be a prayer.
Now you said DOCSIS 4.0 after we see LEO cell connections. Last I checked, we're starting to see the start of those satellites late 2024. And that would be trial.
And I'm saying DOCSIS 4.0 is live by 2024. Like, it's actually live.
That's why I said I wouldn't bet on it, but I could see it happening.
So part of this is based on the idea that the Starlinks of the world, low-cost launch providers, will be setting up those satellite constellations. And
God, that idea sounds absolutely horrible.
There's a comment in the chat.
It'll cause no end of problems.
There's a comment in the chat. I want to address this from RFK. If you can highlight, it's the most recent one.
Sure. Which one is it? RFK's got a few.
It's a fact that fixed wireless is faster to deploy than cable. That's the one. So RFK, you're correct. It is faster to deploy a cell site than it is to run the cable to someone's house. However, what is not being talked about is that the cable's already in the ground. It's already at the house. The only thing the operator has to do is the work on the outside, which is a lot easier because it doesn't require to talk to any customer. And the only thing that the customer has to do is have a DOCSIS 4.0 modem to take full advantage of DOCSIS 4.0. And even if they don't, they probably have a 3.1 modem already and will still be able to see some benefits. So
you're missing a step.
What's that?
They'd also have to throw out that e-waste of a low-end cable box, because if the cable box is only contemporary to like 2.0 or 3.1, you're going to see collisions with frequency collisions between the more robust upload and download internet speeds in 4.0 and the fact they still have to pump legacy traffic to the box.
Well, a lot of the boxes that are being sent out are video over IP capable, so I don't think that's going to be a problem.
However, there are still some people who signed up, say, 10 years ago who have not changed out the box, who may be sitting and interfering with other people's advancements.
Yeah, and that was a problem that prevented them from adding more upstream channels to the DOCSIS 3.1 specification. But at some point, you just say F it, and you say, you know what? Your TV not working is going to force you to get a new TV box.
So I actually know a really easy way to do that.
What's that?
The old boxes run on Fedora using a Linux kernel of 3.16. And there is a way of updating the kernel, pushing out an update to the boxes that bricks them, so they have to go in and get a new one.
There you go.
The only issue was it could wipe out every episode you have recorded of The View.
Well, that sucks to suck. I mean, I know with a lot of cable operators anyway, at least with the newer boxes, they actually save your recordings in the cloud. So
yeah, they're getting there, but the legacy ones is where the issue comes in.
Well, sucks to sucks. You should have replaced your TV box.
Let me jump in here and speak to Mystic Mobile Tech's question. Do you see data caps in future or different plan levels? So I could see speeds or priority being things that cost you incremental dollars. I don't see data caps coming back except at the very low end, simply because with the amount of control they have over quality of service levels and deprioritization, they can drop you down to unusable speeds if the network ever needs it.
Well, data caps were never about network management. They were strictly a profit driving thing.
Yeah, so you'll find
not on wireless though.
Oh yeah, even on wireless, because Listen, Sneed, if data caps don't solve anything for you from a network management standpoint, because
whoa, hold on a second. Mobile network wireless.
I know. Let me finish my sentence and I'll explain exactly.
No, I want clarification. You're telling me that wireless networks, mobile networks, are capped. Why?
Money.
Okay.
Yeah. You're gonna get a whiteboard of this.
All right, go ahead.
Listen. Well, let me finish. Let me finish my sentence before you draw your board. Data caps don't solve any of the issues that come from a network management standpoint, because you're more concerned about when the data is being used and not about how much.
So we're not talking network management. We're talking about straight up data caps.
Yes.
Okay, got you. Okay.
I'm saying that data caps data caps were never meant to be a network management tool.
Yeah, they're an upsell to a higher plan or a premium plan.
Yes, for more money. Yes.
I will disagree. Only limited to 3G. 3G and AT&T, when the iPhone came out, those were for network management. Outside of that, I agree with you.
You know what's crazy though? What's the worst part about it is they slow you down to what they call 3G speeds, and it's like 500 megabits. What is it? Half a megabit a second.
Half a megabit, yeah.
Yeah.
And this to this day, there are some 3G channels I jump on where I'm getting 15 to 20.
Exactly. Like what
it was pretty good
on there.
Which actually
on 3G? That's better than LTE.
Which actually in some locations is better than LTE.
Yeah, if I could get 15 megs consistent on LTE, I'd be happy.
Dual carrier HSPA was getting 30 to 35 megabits in its heyday. So yeah, 3G got pretty impressive before LTE Advanced took over.
So I have time slots 1, 2, 3, and 4. Within the time slot in LTE land, and to some extent 5G land, we get these 128 kilobit blocks. And everything can go around randomly within them. From point 1, we have these blocks filled in. And we encounter in point 2 different blocks. Let's go here, here, and here. The only thing in point 3 we have to worry about with data caps is if all of 3 is saturated. However, that is only the case until the interval when we encounter 4 again, where we're back to random blocks. So no, data caps are only upsells.
And plus, data caps don't stop the thing that you just showed from happening, because if we all had a gig of data and decided to all hop on the network at the same time, you still have the same congestion problem.
Yeah, so worst case scenario, you're at 128 kilobits a second when
but you're talking about 2 or 3 times a year when that can actually happen.
No, less.
No?
Theoretically 0.
It happens on certain sites all the time, Pete. Right? Like there's a certain site at like Lakewood Park here in Cleveland.
So yeah, theoretically 0, but this is based on available bandwidth. So if for some reason they only have 5 megahertz, you may only see like 9 of those blocks, and then 9 people can tank the network.
Also, there's another quick comment I want to address. That's from RFK. He said when Starlink is fully deployed, cable will die.
No.
I'm sorry, but Starlink is not meant to be a home internet replacement for every single American. And that's like me saying that I don't even know a comparable argument here, but like that's not happening. Like, period.
So Starlink Pro could be, but that's $500 a month.
Yeah.
So Starlink's issue is you have to have a certain angle to receive a transmission from the antenna. But as you get progressively denser, the odds of interference between any one signal going to a point in space increase, and the risk of violating ITC and FCC regulations regarding the number of simultaneous beams to a point in space increases dramatically. So you can't use Starlink in very dense areas. You can use it in rural to ex-urban, but
forget
once
all
you get
that.
into suburban, it's a risk.
Forget all that. Why would you pick Starlink over cable? Like, you cannot. No one here can argue with me that cable is a superior technology over anything satellite. Please, for the love of God, please tell me we have consensus on that.
Do not underestimate the effect of hate.
The best thing Starlink can do to cable, in my opinion, is make it so the cable company sees it as a competitor, so they lower their price.
Well, Starlink's charging $100 right now, so I really don't feel like cable companies are pressure to lower their prices, and $500 for...
They're not. No pressure when you're offering.
And
did not do his homework. Watch Carl.
And HughesNet and Viasat are more expensive because they have really tiny data caps and hard throttles.
I will agree that Starlink technologically doesn't pose much of a threat to cable. Where I think it encourages price reductions is on the DSL providers or upgrades, because there are still places in the country where you charge well upward of $100 for VDSL, and that won't fly if Starlink is available in the area.
So, real quick, I want to address another comment from RFK. I've talked about on my podcast, and I think I mentioned it on Sneed, about how you get into situations where you only have one option, at least with MDUs and like apartment complexes. But for most people that have residential houses, you don't actually have a quote unquote, I'm using quotation marks here, monopoly with your cable operator. The reason why your cable operator is quote unquote a monopoly is because they offer the only thing that could be considered broadband in today's terms. Technically speaking, there's nothing stopping you from getting Viasat and HughesNet. They're available literally everywhere. And I'm sure there's probably a DSL provider, but none of those are.
Currently in my market, granted, new construction, newly developed area, Spectrum's your only option, unless you want to shell out all the money to pay another provider to come in and run their line for you because you'd be the only one who had it.
But you have HughesNet and Viasat, correct? You have to. They're satellite.
HughesNet, I know we have, and
that's not a real option.
Trash, but
my point being is that by definition, at least in the government's eyes, they don't quote. That's why I'm using quotation marks. Your cable operator is not a monopoly. It's just that the other options are also bad because they didn't invest into their networks. And so the argument that because he was making an argument, it's about having choices, right? He was saying Starlink is a choice for people, and my argument is that what Starlink is offering to someone who has cable is the same as offering as HughesNet or Viasat as competition. Starlink isn't competition to cable, is my point here.
It's more competition than Usenet would be. But what you're saying does actually tie into the recent FCC action regarding agreements between multifamily units and ISPs. which prevents the exclusivity agreement. So,
Yeah, they'll try.
Did you have any take on that? I figure that's going to be a lawsuit pretty soon if that ever gets finalized. What do
They'll
you think?
try, but the cable operators already found a hole in it the last time they tried, and I'm sure they'll find another. Yeah. Sneed, you there, buddy?
What's up, Zero?
Yeah, I'm here. Yasmin is she's got me in a chokehold right now. I'm just fighting her off.
Okay. Well, Running Flame was asking your thoughts on the upcoming legislation that's being proposed to try to fix an issue where telecom ISPs were able to get basically monopolies on MDU, so apartment complexes, essentially the way the premise works, in case you weren't aware, is insert ISP will run their lines of infrastructure to an apartment complex, and then the lines inside the building they'll sell back to the landlord, basically, and then get exclusivity leasing agreements to use those lines and prevent others from coming and to use them.
And I'm so happy they're getting rid of that BS.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than what it used to be, where the cable operator would literally have just straight up ownership. But I'm going to just call it right now. I actually don't see that legislation passing. And even if it does, I can already think of 3 other loopholes that ISPs will probably use to still have exclusive access.
I think it'll fix some pricing issues at least.
Yep. By the way, it's not legislation, and it passed the FCC.
Well, that's good.
It's a vote.
The only problem is, and this is what I was going for here. It doesn't fix. Well, one simple thing is it doesn't fix the problem that landlords still have to be ball for letting other providers come in to run their lines. They can still say no.
Yep.
And I know landlords well. They're not that excited to start letting someone tear up their building. So that doesn't fix the main problem there. 2, the lines that are ran by these ISPs typically are coax. So even if another competitor did want to come in, it's not like they could really make use of it.
Oh, it's really easy to fix that problem.
Go ahead.
You go to the wall plate because, at least in Colorado, they have outdoor access directly to the wall plate. You cut off the coax cable, pull out the wall plate, and put in your wire. I did that with my fiber, and I loved it. No new holes.
Nice.
And
did that here.
Since there's already one hole, basically you're saying, hey, this hole can be of any access. So, as long as they're okay ripping out somebody else's wiring, you're good, because it literally just goes through the wall to the outside, has a little bit of caulk to keep the wind from going through.
Got an idea. You were talking about the workaround for like companies that will try to get around like a loophole for the I don't know whatever they're going to call it, the monopoly ban, right? For every entity that is, I don't know, they find out that there is a monopoly, they get blacklisted from that zip code for 5 years.
Ooh. That's strange. That's tough.
So, Steve, I just want to be clear here. You do realize that every single company has participated in this, from AT&T to Verizon to Cox to Spectrum. You name it, they've all done it.
So at what point, as an educator, in which I hold my students accountable, which I'm held accountable, at what point is anyone ever going to be held accountable?
You need to hold them accountable.
Well, what I'm going for here, Sneed, what I'm going for with this, and the reason why I brought this up, is that if they're the monopoly and you ban them from a zip code from 5 years, that means there's now no option. You went from one option to no option for people.
No, there have been options, but they've been essentially kept off of those premises.
So, example, in Longmont and actually Boulder, there are monopoly plans for Comcast in apartment buildings. In Longmont, Nextlight, the municipal internet, would connect to them if the building said you can or a resident was able to. In Boulder, Lumen has fiber in some neighborhoods with the apartments, and they would connect if they were able to. The only reason why these apartments have Comcast and these townhouses have Comcast is there's a tit for tat, a quid pro quo between Comcast and the leasing agency.
Right, and I went over that before about how it works, about how they end up paying they sell back the lines they ran to the landlord and pay for those, which then goes to the landlord's money. It's basically bribery. But the point that I was bringing up is there are apartment complexes that genuinely, sincerely live in an area where there are no other options. It was just going to be Comcast to begin with. Okay, like
So if there's no other options, then how is it a monopoly? If there's nobody there to even compete, I'm talking.
It's a start. It's starved for choice, not a monopoly. It's only a monopoly if in your market you have 100% apartment penetration through the cable company and 0% through any other quote unquote broadband provider, including, if you listen to the BS qualifications for the ISP, HughesNet, because you would not be allowed to connect to that.
Yeah, they don't let you put up satellite dishes. They don't let you put up, like say for example, I had a 2-bedroom apartment back in the day, me and my wife. All right, you could only have Cox. You couldn't get AT&T there. They literally were not, even though they had a box up front, they were blackballed. Like they could not install service because they made that agreement with Cox.
It was the same thing.
So
when I was in my 2-bedroom
you
apartment.
would have a valid reason for an FCC complaint there. I don't know what the year was, but since I'm going to say about 2004, the FCC standard has been if the satellite dish is placed in a position where it is not in a quote-unquote common area, meaning you can't place it in the breezeway,
Running Flame,
then you are allowed to set up a satellite dish.
Running Flame, my guy, bro. I'm not joking. My state tried to ban municipal fiber.
Also,
they succeeded. Flame. What are you talking about?
I believe you.
Also, Running Flame, you're wrong. I live in an HOA, and you're not allowed to put up any satellites.
Well, HOAs are a whole other deal, but yeah,
well,
that's still legal what they're doing. It's just very hard to.
I'm just saying it's the same for apartment complexes. They're allowed that they can do what they want. They're the.
If you have a balcony in an apartment, you're legally allowed to set up an outdoor antenna on the rail.
That's what I'm saying.
Not where I used to live.
We need more belly dancing.
Like quite literally. So at the apartment complex I used to live at before we moved in our house, they embedded as a separate line item charge Spectrum cable with internet into your rent, and it didn't matter if you used it or not, you're still charged.
Yeah, that's what the FCC voted to get rid of.
Those are known as bulk agreements, and that's not what the FCC was getting rid of. They were trying to get rid of the situation where basically
Mystic says I can only have Spectrum in my condo.
So
yeah, Pete, exclusivity agreements, not bulk agreements.
Yeah, they were trying to get rid of exclusivity agreements, not bulk agreements. Landlords can still do bulk agreements with ISPs. That doesn't change. That's not illegal.
I'm gonna have to talk to my people who know people on the FCC committee, see if we can throw in bulk by the end of the year.
I doubt it.
Please do, Pete.
It would have been really.
If you ever really want to tick off your HOA, let me just put this out here. If you ever really want to tick off your HOA, it's something like a 25 or to 40 foot ham radio tower is a protected use.
I was just about to say that.
Yep. If you have your license, they cannot force you to take it down if it's not obstructing foot traffic.
That's right.
Well, guys, changing gears a little bit, because I feel like we talked about home internet many, many times, and my stance is very well demonstrated at this point. Let's change gears. Let's talk about how Google is pushing out a pretty awesome update to their messaging app.
Thank God.
Wait,
more
wait,
duplicate
wait. What I
text.
missed? So basically, here's what the update does. For any Android users out there, you'll know that when an iPhone user using iMessage reacts to you, you'd get a little text saying like "Dennis liked your message," and it would come in as a text.
Hey,
Google,
Dennis, like
yeah,
the last message I sent you so I can throw up an image.
okay.
Unless you're on the beta version, you probably don't have it yet.
Just to be clear here, you did not. My number won't show, correct?
Nope.
Okay. I just hearted your last message.
I want to say Caleb liked a message, but with like an eggplant.
Actually, I'm on beta.
Nice.
So what they did is they made it now where they'll show the emoji, and it's kind of brute force in nature. Basically, what it's doing is it's looking for the context of X liked message, blah blah blah, and converting it into emoji. So in the example, I used a heart. Now, as you saw there, Google took the initiative to change that to the heart with eyes emoji, which honestly kind of doesn't have the same meaning, I would say, as far as emojis go. But it is a big improvement from where we were at, and I wanted people's thoughts.
Hold up. Let me see if I can find an example of the old way from a neighbor.
Oh, it's a big improvement. It used to write out the whole text. Such and so liked this message. Such and
if you were in a
so
group
laughed
text,
in response.
oh my God, was that so annoying?
And it would send a separate message for every action they did.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for MMS. It doesn't work
Like
for Andrews.
Pat got, yeah, right there. Liked, right there.
Do you guys think they should get rid of SMS and MMS?
Yes. Apple
I get
should
a
be
poll
forced
here?
to adapt RCS messaging. End of story.
Okay, all right.
Well,
RCS fan.
I was speaking with Dennis on my stream regarding this. I think the default for Android should be RCS and do a fallback to SMS or MMS if the device cannot take SMS.
Yeah,
RCS.
that does that automatically already.
I agree.
Well,
you need a 3 to 4
At least my
year
phone
window.
does.
my phone does. However, you have apps like Signal that if you're sending to somebody with RCS enabled and not Signal, they get it as an SMS. What I'm saying is you do an operating system level thing where it will receive the message as RCS, and if it fails, it takes the plain text, which would make it so third-party messaging apps like Signal, if you're out of their ecosystem, would support RCS by default.
Okay, so but you're leaving out the option pretty much. You're just saying it's forced as a fallback, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like, you literally cannot access it if your phone is compatible with using RCS.
But after that 3 to 4 year window, you get rid of the MMS and SMS fallback. Because by that point, the market should be seeded with enough 4G and 5G devices. All those 3G devices go away. And the big thing with RCS that doesn't get enough press is the degree of encryption, which is to say any on those.
So encryption isn't a mandatory implementation for RCS, and right now, with how Google's implementing it, the encryption only works in one-to-one conversations, not the group messages.
They're working on changing that.
They're working on that.
Hey, Zero Cool, that group message you sent with me and Sneed, it showed me end-to-end encryption.
Well, yeah, that's because for that to happen, all the people in the group have to have RCS turned on and communicating with it.
RCS life, man.
Can you imagine?
It's beautiful, and I'll even open this can of worms, and anyone who wants to argue with me, go right ahead. RCS encryption is better than iMessage.
No.
Oh,
yes, it is.
Yes.
So with SMS and MMS, there's actually no encryption. Everything is written plain text. But can you guys imagine if there was no letters or numbers to text if everything was just like emoticons and emojis and shit? Like,
how
would that life be?
The Egyptian alphabet?
Yeah,
that
like,
was called AIM.
like you can have an emoji for like doing homework, or if you're trying to eat something, or if you're at the movies, or if you're mad at somebody.
Zero cool. That would lower texting traffic from people above a certain age, because if I could only send emojis, I wouldn't use that junk.
Yeah, that would be like trying to force me to type in wingdings. I'll pass.
As if Twitter isn't bad enough.
Wingdings.
I mean, for somehow after I get the Pixel 5, I got my emojis to show up. On my computer, there's still boxes with question marks.
Really? I haven't had that issue.
It's not an issue. It's a feature.
Those extra character sets.
It's a feature. I'm running Linux, man.
So I want to go back to something though. Can someone please explain to me why they believe the encryption on RCS is better than iMessage encryption? Can someone please?
So there was a study that came out not too long ago, and it was a law enforcement study, and it showed WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger were the easiest to de-encrypt. iMessage was second. RCS was actually one of the hardest to crack.
Also, another thing to consider is if you're doing an iMessage chat to somebody in China, the entire message can be read by the CCP.
So just looking at the difference between the two is for iMessage, they're both end-to-end encrypted, but the difference is the iMessage is actually encrypted in transit versus the RCS, where it doesn't do that. It's just actually just end-to-end from user to user.
I prefer my encryption on chip before broadcast.
Yeah, it's encrypted. Right. It's encrypted in iCloud before it's sent. Yeah.
Right. And that's the other thing. I don't agree with the whole. Let's just get your shit over to iCloud because Apple actually has the decryption keys for your iCloud.
Yep.
So I'm gonna take the rare occasion here to defend Apple. Apple used to have end-to-end encryption on iCloud. They got rid of it specifically because the users of their devices kept losing their passwords and losing access to everything.
Yeah.
Wait, I haven't had that issue on my Google with encryption.
I haven't either.
So actually, if you guys want to download this, I've actually told a couple people about this, but I encourage everybody to download this application.
Is this cryptocurrency mining one?
This is the one I told you about. This is a program called XX Messenger. So what this is a completely end-to-end encrypted chat messaging program that actually uses the elliptical curve encryption on the blockchain. So you're actually using the blockchain encryption, and it's really, I haven't got a chance to talk to anybody yet, Pete, but
hey, if it has something to do with blockchain, I do not consider it secure in this because of the immutability. It means that if given enough time, it can be subject to brute force.
Yeah, true. But it's
also, I'm just gonna throw something out here, Caleb. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I got 25 messaging apps I have to use already. I'm not adding another one to it.
However, if my security chip encrypted it using an elliptic curve and decrypted it locally using an elliptic curve, and there was no blockchain, I would use it.
So actually, the best encryption chatting program that has yet to be beat, and that's completely private and secure. It's XMPP. You guys probably never heard of it, but if you, it's like Jitsi Chat, or if you guys Google XMPP,
old IM standard.
Chat.
Here, I'm gonna throw something out here, and this is coming from the man that does value security. But I'm gonna throw something out here real quick. There are trade-offs between security and usability. Okay, if we were to take like a WhatsApp, if we were to take like a WhatsApp approach, right? They don't let you sync your messages across multiple different phones at the same time. They only let you log into like one phone. They tie it in with your phone number, right? I hate that. I hate that. I would rather have something more akin to a Facebook Messenger where it is just all tied in with my Facebook account and I can message across many different devices. I don't really give a damn, honestly, what the ramifications are from that, because that is more usable. A messaging app has to be one that is usable first and foremost. It could be as secure as it wants to be, but if no one uses it, then those security features don't matter. And if it's not usable, then the security features don't matter. I need a hybrid blend. I feel like iMessage, I don't like Apple, but if you're in the Apple ecosystem, iMessage works well. And I feel like things like Facebook Messenger work well.
If you want a hybrid good solution that's secure and that most people use it, it's called a Threema. So what that is it's not tied to a phone number. It's actually tied to encrypted ID and also encrypted QR code. And you can chat with people, and it's really friendly, user friendly, and it's really good. And it's developed Switzerland, so it's protected by the GDPP, and it's really nice. You can check
By
that
the
out.
way, I like the Swedish iteration of the right to be forgotten stuff more than the Swiss one.
Right, yeah, I'll put them in the chat for you guys. But yeah, it's a great that, and I think Threema is the most secure, even more secure than the XX Messenger to me, because it's completely end-to-end encrypted. There's no servers, there's no nothing. There's just you and the other guy.
So how do your messages get synced up then across multiple devices if it's all?
They wouldn't.
I connect my.
It's
home.
not. I actually. I'm sure it's on their website.
Here's my opportunity. Here's my opportunity to name drop Silk. This was the IRC protocol that never took off, but I think it meets the nicest balance between the two. Yes.
I've never heard of it.
IRC can be hacked easy. So
Here,
Secure
let me
internet live conferencing. It used symmetrical keys. It used servers, but only the people on the chat got access to the keys.
Here,
so
let me put this another way.
You would connect to a server, and you wouldn't have to worry about the syncing.
Here, let me put this another way. If something I need to say needs to be so private that I'm looking deep and hard for a secure messaging platform to do it with, I'll probably just say it to you in person. If it's something that crucial. When I think of the example case of me messaging something on my phone, because use case matters here. When I'm thinking about messaging something on my phone, I obviously don't want it to be SMS and totally unencrypted, because there's many reasons why that's not good.
Which is why you avoid the green bubbles.
But, well, it's why I like to message the green bubbles on other things outside of SMS. Maybe it's WhatsApp, maybe it's just whatever it is. And there's other reasons too, but
he just doesn't want to use RCS.
I do want to use RCS. I had Android for years, Pete. But
And
anyway,
then you decided to drop it.
Wait, Dennis. You ain't got an iPhone? I thought you were a Galaxy dude.
I was a Galaxy dude. I converted to iPhone 13 Pro Max as my daily driver.
So if you guys want to know the most,
but look, when I'm sending a message over a phone, right? I want it to be encrypted because I would like it so that your average Joe is like, I'm not low hanging fruit, but I don't need it to be Fort Knox security either. Like, the things I'm messaging over my phone aren't the things that need Fort Knox level security.
If you guys want something that's completely unbreakable, what we used to do in the Cold War is start a number station. Number station is you have a one-time pad. You send numbers, a series of back and forth, and no one can decode whatever it is.
And if you have the messenger, you make sure that he takes the cyanide when he drops it off.
Yeah, look up number stations. It's no one can crack it.
Hey, I love them. However, you're assuming that the pad in the number station is sufficiently random enough. If somebody joked around and made one, but it was sequential or predictively sequential, you broke encryption.
Right, true. No.
So if you were doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as your cipher, that wouldn't work. But if you were, say, using pi mod 3, that would be random.
Yep.
I'll throw another one out there, which you can technically do on iOS and Android using iMessage or RCS over VPN. That helps too.
So we're getting too far in the weeds here. Most of the benefit can be derived just by using slow hashing algorithms. A lot of the issue is that companies store things like passwords and user details in using hashing algorithms where you can get tens of thousands of results per second. If you use something like bcrypt or the latest state of the art, whose name escapes me at the moment, you're not getting anywhere near that much speed. So it's not just about the computational resources of someone trying to break into your communications. It's also about the algorithm.
If I remember the most recent algorithm, known best hashing algorithm, could break one hash. Well, break a set of hashes, which is in the, I believe in best environments, the 20s per second, which is computationally too cumbersome to worry about when you consider SHA-1 is in the magnitude of 15,000 a second.
Yeah, there you go. An MD5 and a number of these used historically are even faster.
I use SHA-512.
Nice.
So the moment you look at the hashing algorithm, you shrug and just give up.
Right.
4096 key size, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, 4096 bit key size. You know, if they wanna try and get lucky, it's still one in less than the number of atoms in the known universe.
Isn't let me think for a second. How do I want to phrase this? AES 256-bit encryption, is that still considered the best or no?
So AES 256 is better than TKPI or TKPI or whatever the fuck it is.
Let's call it sufficiently secure at the moment, as opposed to really secure when it came out.
Well, I was going to say, because that's the one that my college textbooks taught us back in like 2016 when I was taking a RSA course, risk security analysis course. So,
yeah, let's call that sufficient.
Yeah, let's go with sufficient. If you want a real answer, you need to know a lot of math and get into polynomial versus non-polynomial time and quantum computing.
If you want the proof, you need to give me warning, and I'll get the proof out and prep it for a 3-hour live stream.
Well, that's your next topic for your channel, Pete. There you go.
My next topic is how the T2 security chip in Max was killed. Booyah! I can finally get Linux on them.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
But so the problem is with the going into algorithms, it's all whiteboard. I can't stream a game. But I'm okay with that, but I need prep.
See, I think Pete has a whole lot of fun with Fortnite, just taking out the noobs.
He doesn't play Fortnite on stream. He plays legacy games.
Or I play Switch games.
He's been playing a lot of Zelda lately.
No, I've been playing Shining Force.
See, Pete's got some anger he needs to take out on some teenagers.
I don't play first-person shooters.
Hey, Sneed. So in the title of the show, you had T-Mobile and Verizon are fighting cable and fiber. What's the scoop on that part of the title?
All right, so I do like daily video updates, news, analysis, and I do shorts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so many of my shorts, I'm finding myself making videos about ISPs expanding their fiber and network footprints, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like for every fixed wireless update we get from T-Mobile and Verizon, right? T-Mobile expands to Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. You know, Verizon reaches, 30 million past, 5G home. Like these things come out each week, and then literally within 24, 48 hours, I get a press release or an update from like Cox Communications increasing 400,000 addresses with fiber. Um, Local provider, regional provider, stretching its fiber network. Altice going 2 gig, 5 gig. Like they're what I'm saying is for the first time ever, and it's probably a combination of infrastructure bucks and pressure from fixed wireless access, but cable's actually moving. Like they never ever move. Like it took 40 years to get where we are today to have a sizable cable and fiber footprint. And they have done more growth and planning in the last 2 years than they have done in the last 35. So
They're
what
scared.
exactly. So like now they feel pressure and they're doing something and that's good.
That's what we want.
Right. So like but the problem here is this. Prior to the Biden bucks, the infrastructure bill, fixed wireless access was going to like they were just going to come in they were going to come in hot, right? But like
Yep.
now with these infrastructure dollars, traditional ISPs are motivated to not only compete for the sake of making money because these new fixed wireless competitors, but like now makes more business sense. Like it's cheaper to build their fiber network now. It's cheaper to expand their cable network now because they're going to get paid to do it.
Right. And the
So like
same thing happened with cellular back in the day.
but what that does is that gives Verizon and T-Mobile less opportunity. So in places where it used to be only DSL, now it's going to be fixed wireless access and cable and fiber. That's going to happen a lot. Now that
Hey,
benefits the consumer, but I'm talking about T-Mobile and Verizon from a revenue stream standpoint. They banked big on 5G monetization, fixed wireless access being one of them. If they each lose 5 million potential customers, that's massive revenue that they would lose.
and that just means they would have to retarget their strategy.
I promise you this. I promise. If it wasn't for the infrastructure bill, Verizon would not have done 50% off of fixed wireless access.
Nope, they wouldn't have.
They would not have done it.
I
They're
agree.
getting effectively paid to do that.
Yeah, and
So
this
I
this
don't.
kind of ties in. This ties into one of my favorite sayings. A lot of these cable ISPs have a Red Queen problem now. They've been sitting on their butts for ages, and now they're having to move faster and faster just to keep up.
I wouldn't call it
and
faster and faster to keep up, but continue.
So, because the other thing is, they also have private equity now. You have TPG Capital and others who are buying a lot of these traditional ISPs territories, and they're planning to roll out fiber now. So, even places where traditional ISPs didn't care to spend the money to upgrade, private equity's coming in with those public benefit dollars, and they are building out fiber or fixed wireless or some combination thereof. So you may not even be familiar at all with your ISP's name over the next 5 years, but it's going to be better than it was before.
But I don't get Sneed's point. So like, yeah, government dollars are the reason that a lot of stuff happens. What's the shtick on this?
I
Like,
mean, heck, we're benefiting from government bucks right now.
So I think Sneed's argument is without that money, cable ISPs wouldn't have done a thing.
right?
So
I think that's true.
It sparked additional competition in the market because let's just take away the government payout to them. Verizon, AT&T launched or not AT&T, T-Mobile both launch home internet. Cable company at that point, they're not motivated. I don't think they really care how many customers they lose at the end of the day. At least they don't act like it. So it would have been a win-win for cellular all the way around.
I mean, I'm going to put it this way. Regardless of the company, companies are motivated by one thing, money and return on investment. If an area doesn't give a good return on investment within a certain time frame, then nothing happens in that area. Government fund bucks, as Sneed pointed out, reduces the cost, which then changes the return on investment equation.
Exactly.
But
the return of investment is improved. But what I'm circling back to, and I'll try to convey this a little bit more clearly, is that
let's throw a caveat in there. Return on investment is improved as long as the government doesn't sue them for not doing anything.
That's true. Which
AT&T in upstate New York.
Yeah, I was going to say AT&T.
What about Mississippi? They're getting audited right now.
How about Verizon in Pennsylvania?
Right.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that
with FiOS, exactly.
But okay, go ahead and try to reconvey because I think I missed the point that you're trying to go on here. So
my point is this: Verizon and T-Mobile were coming in hot, and then the Biden infrastructure bill comes in and throws a wrench into their plans. I am positive that
wait, Sneed, you're talking about the wrong bill. This is the American Rescue Plan, targeted to bridge the digital divide and to provide children with broadband access so they can attend school remotely. The infrastructure bill that is still stalled in the Senate would allow them to access money to build out further.
Okay, so
I don't care what you call it. 65 billion.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, and what it's going to do is it's going to put cable and fiber in places that wouldn't have had it otherwise. So here's my point. Verizon and T-Mobile internally, for sure, are discussing how much they're going to downgrade their guidance of their fixed wireless subscribers because they are no doubt going to lose them now. They're not going to get those customers because more places are going to have fiber and cable. And that is simply put better than fixed wireless access when it comes to technology.
Yeah, so
my point is this. T-Mobile and Verizon thought they were going to do X customers. Now they are going to probably guide down slightly because there's going to be more fiber out there.
And can I say something? And something I want to say is good. Fuck Verizon. They had 10 years to be expanding out their FiOS footprint, and instead they sold it off and then just remembered they had it. They betted on the wrong horse. They should have been doing fiber this whole time.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I can't disagree with that.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm not trying to say like I feel bad for anyone. I'm saying is that I know internally T-Mobile and Verizon have to be guiding down whatever magical number they planned 2 years ago is not that same magical number today. No way, no how.
I think that's debatable.
Well,
no, I agree. Every new apartment complex has at least one fiber provider who decides to install their stuff right as it's built up.
No, they have one cable provider. It doesn't necessarily have to be fiber.
So I'm keeping one other thing.
I'm telling you, Lumen, Frontier, Windstream, Comcast, all those guys are putting fiber into new complexes.
So that is all true. They're definitely putting in fiber, but you still got to think at the end of the day, out of the customer base that's on big fixed cable, how many of those customers are pissed off? And irregardless of fiber or not, they may choose a cellular connection just to get off the cable company.
There is that. I think it's less true with fiber than cable.
Yeah, people do get upset at coax cable.
I'm
one of them.
Can I say something really quickly here? I'm going
to say one thing first. Shout out to David for a $5 super chat. Keep on keeping on, brah. Thank you, David.
right, so the thing I want to say is inspired partially by what Zero Cool said and partially about a comment from Kate. It came in at 2119. If you want to highlight it real quick, Sneed. He said cable companies are legit snakes. They couldn't give two shits about their customers. If Starlink didn't have horrendous latency issues, then I would use them over any of the bastards. Here's my thing. No corporation gives a shit about any of their customers. We're all just numbers to them that happen to give in X amount of fun bucks. If you think that Starlink under Elon Musk is some saint that's going to be here to save the world, and you've got another thing coming.
I mean, look at the Teslas.
Wait, hold on a second. Real quick. Type a 1 in the chat if you're an Elon Musketeer. Go ahead.
I think
Like,
I think
literally-
there's a little bit more than what.
Literally, all you're trying to do is find a First off, the best customer experience the best customer service from any company is when I don't have to talk and interact with customer service. Because honestly, there's not a single telecom company I can think of that actually offers good customer service. This is a industry-wide problem.
So I will say this. There was one, and I did say past tense was. T-Mobile won the mid-2000s because of customer service and price. That is how they've gained nearly 1 million subscribers every single quarter.
My ISP has phenomenal.
Are you not a fan of Cali Fields, TP?
But
Are you not in the Cali Fields fan club?
But listen,
No.
my point that I'm getting at here is the best customer service you can ask for is not having to interact with customer service. Because if you're interacting with customer service, 9 times out of 10, it means something is wrong. All right. Like right now, my Verizon has been working as it should. And that's been the best. I don't have to deal with
Hang on. I gotta touch something.
You're getting half of what you're paying for, and it's only up 40% of the time.
No, did I not tell you? Did I not tell you in Spaces that I?
Oh, I know you. I know.
I gotta address something in the comments. The Nintendo 504. Think you're joking. Jeff Bezos is not the best.
I give him the union salute every time I see him on TV.
Hey, but hold on, bro. He's got some studios to do some things.
Yeah,
But-
and a baby yacht to keep his other yacht company.
But anyway, back to what I
And
was.
other yachts.
But back to what I was saying. Like, now that my Verizon Fios is working, it's great. I don't have to interact with Verizon's shitty customer service. And even if they did have exceptional customer service like the old T-Mobile used to, it doesn't fix the problem that I had a shitty inferior product. It wasn't running like fiber should.
So
Well, hold on. That's kind of you're kind of making your own point there, just because usually, if you have a superior product such as fiber, you don't really need to call customer service.
Hey, there's 2 examples
I
that I
want
can
to
give you
backtrack
right.
here.
Hold on. There's 2 examples I can give you of shit fiber. Mine before Fios finally fixed whatever the problem was, and then Greg, who you should know from the Twitter Spaces, he has Spectrum fiber right now, and it's been running like as for him as well.
Yeah, but I mean, fiber overall in general will work better than coax.
I've already said it on stream, and I don't think this is an argument. I said fiber is the gold standard. That also being said, you can have, just because it's fiber doesn't mean it's necessarily good out the gate. You can have poorly executed fiber deployments. Verizon was a case in point of that.
Dennis, my fiber provider through my city wants me to call them if for some reason for a prolonged period of time I'm finding myself at 700 megs down, not 980. So I can call them up and we can troubleshoot and figure out how to get my speed up again.
Well, you have a municipal option.
There's only one downside to the customer service.
What's that?
They're only available between 8 and 5.
Yeah, well, you have a municipal option.
Oh, wow.
You're talking to people that
Anchor hours.
You're literally talking to people that are in your town that can fix it right away. Meanwhile, I'm talking to someone that's probably out in New Jersey, considering that's where Verizon's headquartered, I believe, if I'm lucky, or halfway across the planet.
No, you're always in the Philippines.
So
Or Bangalore. Don't forget Bangalore.
Bro, Terry in the Philippines and Billy in Bangalore.
Hey,
So-
listen, I have nothing against the people I talk to in the Philippines. It's not their fault. It's just poor. When you have a company of that size, no company of that size can give good customer service.
See,
Go ahead, Zirkle.
I disagree.
Do you think
because Discover exists?
Do you think everybody
But
should
also-
be having like American jobs here, Dennis, or do you think they should be overseas?
What was the question?
Do you think like customer service agents? Do you think they should all be American jobs, or do you think they should be overseas?
No, I think it should be a hybrid. I think
A
that
hybrid.
I think that there's not enough. Well, there's three problems. One is, simply put, there's not enough U.S. people to work all the customer service jobs that would need to be filled in. One, two, two is that people have the expectation with large companies to have 24/7 available customer support, and that's unrealistic if you're going to have everybody in the same country. Like it just is.
T-Mobile's got it.
I must say, I love calling up 611 and getting Ethan from North Carolina.
And then three.
I agree.
No, seriously, we had an issue with Sneed and he hit it out the park.
And then three, just because someone's not from the U.S. doesn't mean they can't provide an exceptional customer service experience. The problem is that these corporations, when they do outsource customer service, tend to go through some like customer service company third party, who's that third party is also probably doing support for other companies as well. So
and they gouge the price of the employees, so the employees become more apathetic.
Mm-hmm. And also
Dennis wants Prius customer service.
And also, too, a lot of times with those foreign customer service representatives, they simply don't have access to the same systems or privileges that a native representative might have inside the States.
I'm okay with international support as long as they have the same access as domestic personally.
Yeah,
I mean, if I had it my way, North America, like the continent of North America, we would try to keep all the jobs and work more closely with our sister countries, Canada and Mexico, if I had my way. But
hey, what about Colombia, Nicaragua, Panama, and Costa Rica? Those are North American countries.
My point is, I would try to
Guatemala here, Pete.
My point is,
that's my favorite coffee too.
My point being is that there would be more benefit in having that money cycle down into Mexico, and then having Mexico rely on us for certain things, and having that economic activity go that route than pushing the money literally over to the other side of the world. But
well, Mexico is fine, but you must keep in mind that nationally, if you're thinking about a reasonable work day, you probably only have 14 out of 24 hours covered for reasonable off times for everyone.
I mean, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to have.
So, those other 10 hours when, crap hits the fan, the hullabaloo happens, I'm perfectly okay with talking to Singapore.
Or you could just do what the election company does and just have an automated machine just automatically put in a ticket for you.
Yeah, that never works. But I'm
I'd
serious.
rather talk to Singapore.
Customer service. You want it as small as possible and cheap and efficient to operate.
Customer service is never cheap to operate. It's one of the most expensive things that you put your money into.
I got paid $12 an hour overnight to support Australia at AppleCare. Their native providers translated into Yanks got 25. They're saving money outsourcing.
I didn't say they weren't.
Pete,
what's up?
They're prawns. They're not shrimp. They're prawns.
By the way, Dan Hanna, thank you for the $5 super chat. No matter how famous I ever get, I'll never forget you, bro. Salute, Sneed. Thank you for your generosity, Tana.
Tana Solit, yeah. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for all that you do to support the channel. Thank you.
BCL Toy says I'm a hillbilly and I want to talk to other hillbillies. That is reasonable. As long as the person you're calling is willing to work the hours that you encounter the issue. So if you have like, I don't know, 8 a.m. till 6 p.m., you call them in and you get local, that's good. But what if you need that coverage at 10 p.m. and they cannot find anyone in your area to work the stick shift?
So I just want to say, as someone that has years of customer service experience, part of the problem too, and I hate to point this out, but we the consumers are also part of the reason why customer service is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just putting it out there. Like you can blame companies for a lot of things, and there's a lot of problems that they have. But like let's just say when X person, I'm not naming a name, but let's just say when X person dials into the automated machine and they just start spamming 0 to get a person as soon as possible. Maybe they scream new customer sales. Well, then they get pissed. They get new customer sales, and that new customer sales rep can't do anything for them because there's another department that would handle their issue. And then they get thrown back in the transfer queue. That's you setting yourself up for your own frustration. Like, because a lot of companies with customer service adopted a model of having representatives specialize in certain things. And another problem as well that's not talked about, but a lot of the best customer service representatives are actually taken off the phones because those are the representatives that get promoted into the higher paying supervisor roles. So another issue to talk about is the fact,
Dennis. They either get taken off the phones because they're promoted to the supervisor roles, or they get sacked because there's not enough supervisors and they do not want people to feel lucky for hitting them because everyone else is a slightly lower tier of expertise. By the way, $5 from David. Can we get a Pete telethon style super chat warring going like old times? Hey, it's up to everybody in live. Thank you for your generosity, David.
Well,
thanks, David. Appreciate the support, man. Thank you.
But
that's what your second donation, David.
But Pete, finishing what I was saying, like one of the issues that has to be addressed is customer service jobs tend to be entry level roles that are low paid. We as Americans have to change our mindset about these entry level jobs. If we as a society really value customer service, then customer service representatives should be paid a lot more than they do currently, because that job is actually, I would argue, one of the more challenging jobs that are out there, because not only do you have to interact with people, but you also have to have a good understanding of the products and services to troubleshoot depending on what you're customer servicing for, and you have to have good inter-department ability to interact, which TLDR, customer service reps are underpaid. TLDR.
So I have issues with Sony products, but I must say I've called their customer service during primetime hours in Japan, and one, they're usually pretty good. But real quick, $10 super chat from Zero Cool saying, "Grab Bashki." You say that word.
Grabeshki. It means scallops and ration.
And thank you for the $20 super sticker from Pete Fox with the pair running to the goal, saying goal. Thank you for your generosity, Pete Fox. $5 super chat from Santiago Hernandez. $5 super chat saying what us power users need is network access with top priority and unlimited like Los Mobile, no additional perks like streaming services. Agreed. Thank you for your generosity, Santiago. Third $5 super chat from David saying it has begun. Yes, it has, David.
Looks like David he
has fun with me.
Door. Yeah,
so
the floodgates going.
I've called Sony customer support once. They said, yeah, this sounds like an engineering issue. Thank you for the $5 PayPal donation from Michael Loke. Indeed, best wishes to Yasmin. So Sony customer support, they got me an engineer to talk with. And, you know, I have 3 PS3s that do not read DVDs anymore. But still, if I had an issue with Sony home electronics and it was an engineering issue. I spoke with an engineer, and that was pretty good for me.
Hey, on the topic of customer service, real quick, do you want to know what really grinds my gears?
Go for it.
The fact that
Classical
T-Mobile,
piano, Swan Lake, hold music.
the fact that T-Mobile store representatives literally can't do anything inside the store, and it always requires calling into 611 to get a simple problem resolved.
Oh my God.
Ouch.
He's hitting the pain point.
Did you
not
have
wrong,
to call 611 to do that, Tim?
Depending on what it was almost guaranteed. Anything outside of upgrading phones or adding lines, it was a call into what we call RSL, retail support line.
So every time Tim helped me out, he didn't have to call in from the sounds of it.
I had workarounds.
Yep.
I'm just saying it defeats the whole purpose of having your store there. Defeats the whole purpose.
No. The purpose of the store is to sell iPhones.
I mean, that's one of the purposes.
No, that's the main purpose, to sell.
That is the main purpose of retail stores is sales. It's not troubleshooting and customer service.
No,
they're
transferring
not, your data.
It's not about trouble. Like, I'm not even talking about troubleshooting issues.
They're not trained for that, Dennis.
Well, let me use an example real quick, okay? I'm just going to use an example real quick. I'm going to take Comcast as the example. When you go to an Xfinity store, it's essentially almost like a mini version of a warehouse. I need to swap out a TV box. I can just do it in the store. I need to make changes to my plan. I could do it in the store. I want to cancel my service. Actually easier to do in the store than calling into a person and having to talk to their retention department. They can do all those things in the store. Need a bill credit? Done in the store. Like, I can literally do everything I could do on the phone in a store.
Bill credits, that depends on the store, because
if you have
store has its own independent budget.
Yep, and I've gotten it from managers at T-Mobile stores, no problem. Thank you, Stephen Smith, for the $2 super chat. It's blank, but thank you for your generosity.
Thanks, Stephen.
$5 super chat from David. This is the fourth one, saying, this one is on behalf of Cade. I got you, bro. $5 super chat from Tim B. What do you have to say, Tim?
Big shout out to David and Cade. Thank you guys for that donation.
Thank you for your generosities.
So, Sneed, you going to take this and buy another S22?
Yeah. Actually, this goes to a better cause than an S22.
Goes to Yasmin's college fund.
Exactly. It's a slightly better cause than a new Galaxy.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at the price of the Galaxy, and if I could have gotten a good deal, I'd still be on the fence. But I'm pretty happy with that one.
What's holding you back, Pete, from the Galaxy?
I need more revenue coming in.
so it's just timing and
yeah, it's the fact that I can't find a professional research assistant job.
I'm still waiting for the Patron on the best phone plans to hit 500, because then me and Stetson will be forced to do a 4-hour stream.
Why can't Samsung like change the name? They need to just rename it from Galaxy to like Supernova or
Bella
or something.
So
crazy.
The Grabeshki phone.
Yes.
Local cluster.
Ooh. According to Ryan, the St. Louis market didn't have a corporate T-Mobile store till after the Sprint deal. All stores here were authorized partners.
Oh my God! Authorized partner stores are literally the worst. I would rather chop off my. I'm not going to finish that sentence, but authorized stores for any of the carriers are terrible.
Hey, I had a good experience. One dropped my tablet off for me.
Literally, all of the worst nightmares I've had with dealing with the carriers have always came from authorized stores.
In Missouri, and I'm going to say Nebraska, T-Mobile historically had partnerships with local companies. They did not have corporately owned stores or a corporate network.
I believe, if I remember correctly, only around Lincoln and Omaha. Still in Nebraska, you want native T-Mobile. Everything else is a partnership.
That
Yeah,
is a
there's
misconception. As of 2018 or 2019, they actually bought out that partnership.
They got Northeast Cellular or Nebraska Cellular. By the way, $5 super chat from
Believe so.
Ryan Fairley. Just keep it up the good work. Thank you for your generosity, Ryan, and we shall try. So they bought out NE
Thanks, Ryan.
Cellular One.
Did they?
I forget the name of the company, but yeah, they bought
They
out
got
and
iWireless in
started
Iowa.
building
I
native.
remember that.
NE Cellular One is the one I'm always on. The one I've always been on when I went into Nebraska.
I
Let
think
me.
Sneed may be correct. iWireless, I think, is the one they bought out.
Yeah, and that's in Iowa.
Hey, Sneed, I want to ask you a question that will probably get your blood pumping, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Make it spicy, Dennis. Get it in, bro. Go ahead.
Hypothetically speaking, if AT&T didn't exist and Cox was the one that was providing you the fiber service that you were enjoying right now, would you still rip out your service from Cox to use fixed wireless like you were before?
Yes.
Even though you admitted that fiber was a game changer.
Yeah. You gotta understand.
Dennis.
You gotta understand something about me, Dennis. I will, from the womb to the tomb, I will die with my principles and my values, and I don't care about the money or the fiber or whatever else. I will die on that shit. My pride is a problem, right? Pride is, it makes people do things that are rational. But these companies have to learn that they cannot walk on people. And if I tell people that they should vote with their wallets, I would be a fake and a fraud if I didn't vote with my wallet.
I mean, you can vote with your wallet and still do something that, like, I could tell people vote with their wallet, but then I could still go buy Fios. I hate Verizon, but I'm not going to not have Fios fiber.
Yeah, but I have been constantly preaching, if you want things to change, and this is what I say about a lot of things, when people are done getting punched in the face, they'll punch back. So that's how I punched back. I refused to give Cox $1. And I'm taking that all the way to the end. I will never give them a dime unless I'm rolling that dime down the street and watching them chase it.
This is a very extreme example, but I'm going to use it. What if they were quite literally your only option? Would you just not connect to the internet at that point?
I move.
You would literally move your house. Okay.
I would move. I would change my address and move.
Hey, semis are cheap, Dennis. 30 grand.
Yeah, but houses aren't.
Slap that thing on a couple of flatbeds.
By the way, T-Mobile did buy up the Nebraska carrier, and Sprint had native coverage. So next time I go through Nebraska, I'm going to have more native coverage.
Well, there you go. Yeah,
Hey, so Steve,
life has been rough
Dennis,
for
I don't know
regional.
if you know this,
Yeah.
but I did a Periscope live stream ripping all of Cox's crap out of my house.
You told me about it.
I ripped it out like a maniac, like the Incredible Hulk, like just like on a rampage. And I threw it all in the street. There's no coming back from that.
Boy, I miss
So-
Periscope.
So, Sneed, I'm going to ask 2 more follow-up questions. What if AT&T starts treating you like Cox? I can't see that being too out of the picture. Do you just cancel AT&T fiber as well?
Bro, they gave me $1,000 in credits. $1,000.
So I think that like the company culture, especially if you have good customer service or bad customer service, what I've been learned since I work for like carriers is it's really a top down approach. The tone is really from at the top, in my opinion. Top down.
I mean, I've every time I've escalated personal customer service issues at T-Mobile to the office of the president, they've bent over backwards to resolve them.
I mean, there's a
Well-
reason why T-Mobile won as many JD customer, awards as they have.
Well, Pete, I can't speak for
but
you because
that's in the
T-Mobile's
past.
customer service has been subpar for me. But
You're not as old nor as perturbed or integrated with services as I was.
what do you mean? I've been with them since
So-
2013.
I've been with them
Here's where
since
T-Mobile went wrong with their customer service.
7.
They outsourced a lot of people, and they got rid of T-Force, who you used to be able to get a hold of on Facebook or Twitter, and they would escalate things. They also, for a time, had a email box, which I'm sure wasn't really John Legier's, but said it was. That was reviewed by higher level support.
There was a lot
they
of
got rid
times
of
that
all of
Legier
that.
himself would respond to those.
I mean, I've got
Well, there you go.
Mike Sievert to reply to issues with T-Vision.
So I can put those questions to rest. So basically, it's not just the CEOs, but all the C-level execs. For example, VPs, presidents. You'll see like president of state. This and this. They all have assistants, and they're the ones that are mostly answering the emails. The only people that don't get those special types of privileges, such as having assistants to do that. I mean, God, I wish I had an assistant. I get over 400 emails a day. But I don't have that.
You're cool. What I'm telling you, they shut all that stuff down a year or two back here. They don't have those lines open anymore.
No.
So they've gone way downhill in terms of the second levels.
I will admit that the reply I got from Sievert with my issue came with my assistant brought this up to me, and I'm going to handle it by passing it off to this person. Expect her to call you at some time that's reasonable for you.
So I have a much more important follow-up question before I forget. So Sneed, I understand that you hate Cox. I understand why you hate Cox, and you're speaking with your fun bucks to make a point to Cox to basically protest what they're doing. What could a Cox do though to change that would be like, you know what, you totally heard what I had to say?
Give him another house.
They could start by jerking each other off.
No, I mean it's seriously, because like when you speak with your fun bucks, the end game is to encourage change. That's it's a protest. It's to encourage change. So you spoke with your fun bucks, Sneed. What's the end outcome? What would Cox need to do to prove that they changed?
Buy goat shawarma from his store every day of the year.
No, seriously, I'm being serious. Like this is not meant to be a joke.
No, I'm also. But here in all seriousness is a $5 super chat from Alternate Reality saying, Sneed, you picked the hard path of life of principle. I am in the camp of gratitude and flexibility. I held my grudges too long, but let them go eventually. Hopefully you are no longer holding grudges. I have a vendetta with AT&T.
All right, Dennis, reframe that. Thank you, Alternate Reality. Appreciate it.
So speaking with your fun bucks, it's basically a protest, right? You're protesting Cox for the way they treated you, X, Y, and Z, right? So you're giving your fun bucks to someone else to encourage change and send a message. What would a company like Cox need to do to basically prove to you, like, you know what, we're not the same shitty company that we were however many years ago that you dealt with us, do business with us again type of deal?
I need 1 year of free service and a formal apology written letter from their CEO.
So if they did those two things, you'd switch from AT&T?
No, I mean, I would possibly consider them should things fall apart with AT&T.
Fair enough.
What if they decided to order food from the bakery for all their techs all the time with good lucrative tips?
Okay, are they going to give me that letter in the free year, or they just wanted to come to the bakery?
Well, letter free year and have all their techs order from the bakery with big tips.
Well, then we're probably going to be friends at that point.
So a little bit of bravery does it. Okay, got it.
Hey, that's not bribing. It's showing
That's
appreciation.
business, bro.
Man, that's a high bar. I just prefer the circle jerk.
Yeah, that's showing appreciation to the shawarma shop.
And let me ask an important question. What if it's still coax, though? Would you still make that switch? It's not fiber. It's their coax service.
Well, that's the thing, bro. Like, how am I going to downgrade? That's some dumb shit right there.
Well, dude, I could ask you the same argument whenever you try to tell me people should be using fixed wireless over cable. That's some dumb shit in my eyes.
Cable has been screwing people. Like, Dennis, here's the equivalent, okay? Here's the cable fixed wireless thing. There is a girl who has continued to cheat on a guy. Can you blame him for eventually trying to move on to someone that will not cheat on him?
Even
At
aside
some
from
point,
that,
he's
Dennis,
looking for something else.
Yes, but that's to further your analogy. The girl that he's trying to move on to,
even if
is an alcoholic that gambles.
Even if the coaxial being a girl that is like a 9, even if the fixed wireless is a 7, at least she ain't cheating on him, and she ain't gonna give him the HIV, bro.
Yeah, but she's an alcoholic that gambles, so
she ain't gonna give him burn,
but
bro. Ain't no
also,
layup, ain't no dribble, ain't no drip, no nothing, bro.
Oh my god.
Dennis, you're assuming cable's better. There's a lot of places where they're 20 to 50 megabits. Fixed wireless can beat that easy.
I can't think of any places off the top of my head where that's still the maximum service offered by cable. Most cable operators are doing DOCSIS 3.0, which means most cable operators at a minimum at least have a speed tier for 400 meg.
Most cable operators are trash.
Yeah, you ain't been in the South, Dennis.
Well, the major cable operators in this country who have that service the major amount of the population are Comcast, Spectrum, and we could throw in Cox. And to the best of my knowledge, I'm not saying their prices are great, but to the best of my knowledge, they all offer a gigabit tier.
Nah, Windstream out off in Alabama. They're not offering gigabits in rural Georgia.
They're supposed to offer at least 100 meg service for DOCSIS 3.
David, thank you for the super chat. He said Sneed versus Dennis round 2, grabbing the whiskey.
God.
Oh, just now? I already did.
Yeah, but Ryan, Sparklight, although I obviously trashed them on the best phone plan stream, the problem with them wasn't the speed, it was their pricing and the data caps that were obnoxious. They were offering decent speed to you. Oh yeah, by the way, Sneed, have you ever heard of Sparklight? Because they were something, man. 350 gigabyte data cap on 100 meg tier.
Oh, horrible.
Wait, is that coax?
Yeah, look it up. Ryan told me about it when I was doing the stream yesterday on the Best Phone Plans channel.
That's not fixed wireless access?
Nope.
Sheesh, man.
Yeah, they got a 100 meg tier. It's a 350 gigabyte cap. The price it's 100 by 10, 350 gigabyte cap on the data, and it's $39 a month for 3 months, and afterwards it goes up.
So Dennis, don't you think that's something that the FCC could address? Data caps on home internet?
Yeah, I think data caps are bogus. Like I talked about earlier in the stream, data caps are nothing more than a money grab.
For home internet, there should be no data cap at all.
I agree. I agree with you.
I mean, fine, you want to do speed tiers, okay, but like, my goodness, man.
I agree with you.
Let's get to Kevin O'Donovan here with the super chat. Thank you, man. Sad to hear that no 5G BlackBerry will be released. Reports indicate it's been scrapped. Will cling to my BlackBerry Key 2 as long as T-Mobile supports it. R.I.P. Yeah, salute to the dead BlackBerry. Apparently, it's terrible, man.
The dead berry now.
Yep, it is the dead berry.
Did we get the $5 super chat from Ruben saying,
Big Rubes.
Sneed mentally, I don't want peace, I want problems. JK, great content.
Bro,
by the way,
is my mentality. Yep.
David, cheers.
Cheers. Bro, no doubt. my mentality, I want all the smoke. If that's what it takes, I want all the smoke.
Also, Kate said you won the first round knockout against me. I don't even know if we had a round.
Apparently we had a round, bro, and I won, man. I guess I didn't hit you hard enough. I'm gonna hit you hard next time.
Also, what kind of whiskey are you drinking, Pete?
Jim and
Kool-Aid,
Soon.
bro. It's Kool-Aid.
It's Scotch from Scotland.
It reminds me of the French excellence.
Glenmorangie.
You know, fun fact, in Hollywood movies, they actually drink sweet tea and whenever they're having the whiskey scenes. Fun fact.
No, this is just Scotch. Scotch whiskey.
Bro,
Tastes like mother's milk.
Dude, I'm serious. Like, I want all the smoke, bro. Not just some of it, not a little bit. I want all the smoke.
Well, Sneed, you know, there's one problem. There's one problem. I will fight you tooth and nail all the way through until proven wrong.
Yeah, but my intention isn't really to prove you wrong. It's just to get the point across of like the consumer's mentality.
True.
You know, it's you're not really getting an argument out of me one way or the other outside of the fact that I try to take the approach of the consumer thought process, you know?
True. But you know,
and
you know,
even
though I'm like not your average consumer, I'm still a consumer. My points are just as valid though.
Like, here's the thing. A year ago, I remember what it felt like to be in that position. Like this year, I have fiber. Last year I didn't. That is fresh to me. So you're getting, you know, the same way I felt a year ago. I have to remember that because that's how a lot of people feel with one crap provider, no options, or, you know, like slow speeds or data caps. I have to maintain that same energy. It's not fair for me to lose perspective of where I was a year ago because I can relate to that.
Well, if we're going to go back to that same energy, let's just rewind the clock 6 months ago. I had two terrible providers. I had Comcast and Fios. Both were terrible in their own rights.
See, this is why, like, everybody's like, Sneed, why do you care about T-Mobile Home Internet? I mean, you got fiber, and I'm like, why do you guys have tunnel vision? Like, there are people that were like me, right? They exist now where they didn't have options or they had trash options, you know. And I cover T-Mobile Home Internet because it gives people hope or an option, even if it is fixed wireless access. Dude, they can order a gateway, have it sent to their house, self-installation, 50, 60 bucks a month, T-Mobile, Verizon, whomever. You know, like, that's exciting to those people.
Hey, Sneed,
You know,
will you agree with me on one thing? A year and a half ago at this point, I said that things like Starlink and fixed wireless are nothing more than band-aids trying to fix it, that are not fixing the root of the problem.
Band-aids to a problem that may never be solved in this country.
But what I was going to say, so you agree with me they're band-aids. So going one step further, would you agree with me that it'd be more beneficial if the government took all the money they've been investing and focused it solely on forcing providers to do fiber deployments? Yes.
And put it into fiber.
Yes.
Yep.
So you agree with me on that?
Yep.
It's gonna come down to.
I'm scared to hear what you're gonna say because you're gonna give me some 6G nonsense.
No. I'm talking about. Hold on. I'm talking about like the 5G, the 6G, the even the coax, even the fiber. It's gonna come down to a head end, a point to where it's no longer who has the the fastest this and that. As long as you get like a gigabyte or something, it's going to come down to price, just like how the postpaid wireless service is now. It's going to be the same thing just for basic internet.
I mean, in my market, you got T-Mobile and Verizon, which are essentially like the next later the Comcast, and you got AT&T like the CenturyLink. I mean,
yeah, like that competition that's always so fierce for the voice lines and the data or voice and data lines is going to be the same exact. Eventually, that's going to happen for your home internet. Eventually,
yeah, but the problem is Zero Cool. The problem is
it's going to happen, Dennis.
The problem
is good.
The problem is that, and this is my analogy to you. I want to buy an Apple, but you're
I'm
offering me Orange. All right. Apple is my fiber. That's what I want. I want it for the lowest possible latency, the symmetrical speeds, the absolute peak reliability you can expect, assuming it's deployed right, versus that Orange, which is your fixed wireless. I don't give a damn if it's $10 cheaper. Like,
Hey, Sneed. I'm sorry I made this stream completely unsuitable for children.
You did?
Yeah.
Why? Because you were drinking Kool-Aid?
Yeah, Kool-Aid.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was iced tea, Sneed. It looks more
Oh,
like
iced tea. My bad. It was sweet tea. We forgot.
Yeah, but then
So-
if you give everybody like a basket of fruit, it's better than just having oranges or apples. That's my point.
So Dennis,
Dude,
here's
I-
here's
What you
your
did there is zero cool.
I love me
here's
some
the
Durham.
gap, Dennis. You're an optimizer. In marketing, you've got optimizers and satisficers. A lot of people, if it's good enough, and then price takes over. You're not like that. And I think most people, if it's good enough, the price takes over. So that's why fixed wireless is smacking around cable right now.
Well,
Is
there's
it-
another thing too on fixed wireless, especially out in my area. So there's a couple houses we looked at. It's probably about let's say an hour outside of the Raleigh-Durham major metropolitan area. Other than a fixed wireless solution, you would not have internet. Like there was no options. You couldn't even get cable TV. Your choice was antenna or you were SOL.
I gotta since like we like to do analogies, they're fun, right, Dennis? We do them all the time, right?
Yeah.
All right,
No, they're a
here's
great
one.
way to understand complicated concepts.
All right, so here's
Hey,
this one.
hey. Complicated concepts get the whiteboard treatment.
Yeah, I don't think what I'm about to do is complicated, but it's fun. All right, so here's the analogy. There is a town with not many people. They get no love from like restaurant entrepreneurs. So there's a town that's been begging for these restaurants, but nobody will come and build and operate a business there because there's not much business, right? And everybody there has been clamoring for a Middle Eastern restaurant, a Turkish restaurant, a German restaurant. They want all these nice exotic things that are probably amazing, right? But then out of nowhere, a Chipotle gets built. But there was nothing before, but a Chipotle was built. How do you think that Chipotle is going to do?
Good.
Good.
Are we talking about Lexington City, Maryland?
Is that what that
Wait. You go to a Chipotle if there's a real Mexican place around?
No, there's nothing. There's nothing in this town.
Well, you go to the Chipotle, but if you're like me where I'm here, I have this restaurant called Taco Star. You go there and you don't go to the Taco Bell or the Del Taco, let me tell you.
But you get what I'm saying, Pete. There was nothing before, and people would have been like, they're clamoring for anything, and then something comes. You know that place is going to succeed.
So you throw up a Chevelle burger and people go there because it's something.
Maybe.
Yeah. So in your analogy though, sure, people may go, but then if they don't like Chipotle because they find out that Chipotle
There will be customers, Dennis, that don't like Chipotle.
So yeah, if they don't like Chipotle, those customers will just go make the food at their home.
That's what I do.
You know,
No,
I think what Steve is
look.
trying to say, there's a bigger return on investment for people on the wireless side that don't have options versus coax cable.
Bro,
I know, but the point that I'm going for the point I was trying to go with this analogy was that just because it's something there doesn't mean it's going to make people necessarily happy. There's still going to be people that are pissed that they have to, like, going from one bad thing to another bad thing doesn't make it so.
But it doesn't. Why does it have to be bad though?
Well,
like, why do you all of a sudden have to just assume it's going to be bad?
Well, okay, going from one horrible thing to one mediocre thing. How's that? Is that better?
That is progress.
It's better than having no options.
Wait a minute. This is from the guy who was telling me that T-Mobile is now better. So you're okay with that? Why aren't you keeping the same energy, Dennis?
Yeah. So it's like if you're like let's say if you have 100 people out there in the middle of BFE, and they can't get the last mile out there for cable, right? But suddenly there is a T-Mobile tower out there that can actually service them for high-speed internet. I think that's a win for customers if they're just stuck on like old DSL or something like that.
It's a win all the way around because, like,
It is.
I mean, I had a
People-
stream with Carlos where I talked about the order of operation of connectivity. Basically, fiber, generally speaking, with few exceptions, is the number one option. Follow that up by cable. Follow that up by ultra wideband. Followed up by then mid-band, then DSL, then satellite. That's the order of operations, generally speaking. And obviously, there could be trade-offs between the DSL and the satellite, depending on if we're talking about like CenturyLink's bonded VDSL versus their old school stuff. But that's generally the order of operations of connectivity. So in your example, of the people that have nothing, I'm going to assume they had satellite and they got T-Mobile home internet to be available to them. Then yes, that is better than
to me,
satellite.
DSL is nothing. To me, Viasat is nothing. To me, they're not broadband. They're not.
Well, DSL can be broadband if it's VDSL with bonded pairings. They can
How
offer
many people have that, Dennis? Like as a percentage, do you think, like for people that are DSL customers?
Of DSL customers, maybe like
75,
40.
80%.
Oh, you're going higher than me. I was gonna say like 48%, but sure, 70%, sure.
60.
It's 78% because I used to do that. You have VREDs everywhere, which is a video ready access device that has fiber coming from your
there it
office.
is. There it is, right there. Yeah, we got the information. The man is in the industry. 70%.
There you go.
Confirmed. Nice shot. Nice call, Zero Cool. Good
By
call.
the way, shout out to Troy. I did enjoy that one time you popped on my stream. Good talking.
Yeah, so those VDSL areas, Sneed, generally offer about 50 megabits plus, depending on if it's bonded DSL, like 50 megabits plus. So all the way up to like 140 is what I've seen before. And then the uploads are usually between like 5 and 20. And I mean, that's not terrible. And I would definitely argue that's better than satellite. I mean, those are guaranteed speeds for all intents and purposes because you're not sharing the bandwidth on a DSL connection.
Yeah, that's right, brother.
What did I not see nothing of?
No, don't worry about it.
Okay.
So my closing argument to the fixed wireless thing. So going back to the area I was talking about, let's say you're an hour away from a major urban or suburban market. As let's say a young starting family or whatever, looking to buy a starter home or whatever you're wanting to do. At least in my market, you're pushing out that far. There's no existing infrastructure other than satellite or fixed wireless. It's just a win.
So Troy came in and said apparently you can get up to 200 meg on DSL if they're very close to the CO.
Isn't that VDSL?
Yeah, that's not going to be common.
He was talking to me about that on a stream where I was playing through the Deku Tree in Ocarina of Time.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah, that's the issue with DSL. Your speeds drop off rapidly as you get further away.
That's actually this is on VDSL 2 Plus, which is when I was talking with Australians, something quite good. If you were not able to get cable and they paid a premium, they were actually able to download iPhone updates over it within a 15-minute time period. And keep in mind that standard DSL, what I encounter here in Colorado, where if you're on DSL, you're looking around 15 megs a second, which is competitive to HughesNet, oddly enough. That same download takes about 3 hours due to the fluctuation of how you get the speed going to your place. So the VDSL, it is fluctuation.
Man, I call that death waiting to happen.
But
Well-
the VDSL2 technology is actually pretty good if you're within a mile or a mile and a half of the central office.
Well, Sneed, if you think that's bad, just come to good old Pennsylvania, where we got Verizon, who literally is letting their DSL service just go into decay, and the max speed you can get is 1.5 megabits per second.
Oh my goodness.
They're really neglecting it, which is
No, they are literally. I'm going to tell you exactly what they're doing. They're letting it go to decay until something happens where it's destroyed, and then for those subscribers that were relying on that for their landline or whatever, Verizon's going up to them being like, "Hey, you can use this fancy dancy pants box that will convert a cell phone signal into a landline service."
Yep.
And that's their solution.
So basically, they're waiting for the copper to rust.
Yes. They're not repairing any of it. In fact, they also got sued for that as well. They actually, they're getting sued for that.
By the way, copper cannot rust because rust is nitric phosphate. So, no, not
oxidizes. Actually, it turns green.
Yeah, it turns green, but it doesn't rust, and rust is oxidized iron.
You know, fun fact, in a lot of places in
you get
Europe,
a patina on copper like you do bronze.
Yeah, so fun fact, in a lot of places in Europe, they actually still use DSL. But, like, it's not the shit DSL that we have in the US. It's actually, like, proper VDSL, like, 2+ type of deal.
Hey, just so you guys know, we're going to be wrapping up the show here in a few minutes. But if anybody would like to host the space, I could definitely start it up for you guys, and you guys could do the Sneed After Dark show over on the Twitter Spaces. So if anybody wants to host, I'll set that up. But I got to bake in the morning, so you guys are going to have to run it. You guys are going to have to scallops.
Man,
Grishecki is going to have to set it up or something.
Man. If I was in driving distance, I'd totally hit you
Sneed,
up and buy some pitas.
Sneed, I have a better idea if Pete's up for it. Pete, why don't we do a live show on your channel? Get some of these awesome viewers to come over to your channel, and we can continue the talk in another podcast format.
You get half an hour.
I'm just saying. I mean, we got how many eyeballs do we got going on right now?
Yeah, we can get these people over there to your channel.
How the heck do I set up one of these on my channel?
Don't you have StreamYard?
No, I have. I've only been using OBS. Let me throw up StreamYard. Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, go ahead and set up a StreamYard account, Pete, and then you create like a live event, and then you could share that link.
Yeah, we got 93 awesome people, and I know that you need to get up to 1,000 subs on your channel, Pete.
Okay, let me set up the
And hey, Sneed, save some pumpernickel for me, okay? That stuff will last a few years, right?
And Sneed, when you do come to Pittsburgh, man, bring me some tasty treats. You still owe me some shawarma or whatever.
By the way,
you're all making me hungry.
Real quick, shout out to Alternate Reality for the $5 donation to me. Thank you.
Nice.
Oh, nice, man. That's nice. Good people, man. We appreciate you guys very much. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and let Pete do his thing, set up his live stream. Pete, send out the link, and
I'm working on it.
Yeah, and get it to Dennis and whoever else is going to make it over. And then what I'll do is I'll make sure that I tweet it, and I'll share it on the YouTube community tab, so that way everybody knows where they can find it, how they can subscribe to you, and kind of get involved with the community. Does that work?
And
all right, cool. All right.
Also, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna do the shout out. So if you want to get something in, Dennis, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to sneak in real quick. For anybody that doesn't recognize me, by the way, I host content on the Best Phone Plan channel. We had a very long live stream yesterday that I think that you guys would enjoy. In case you want more content after we get done doing what's on Pete's channel. And my Twitter, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's hashtag DennisBP3. B like boy, P like Paul, number 3.
Does that stand for like B?
No, literally, it's because the original thing I wanted to do was already taken, and so I decided to put in B for like best phone It was supposed to be best phone plans, BPP, but that was taken, so I replaced the P with a 3.
Shout out to Ruben. Pete After Dark. Thank you for the $2 super chat.
Thanks, Big Rubes. Appreciate it. Let's do the shout outs. All right. So for the panel, big shout out to Running Flame joining us for the first time. Good to have you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks
shout
for
out
the
to Team
invite.
Pixel. Yeah, and this was Running Flame's first time on the show, but definitely not the last. Tim,
Has he been knighted? Knighted by you?
oh, he's been knighted, bro. Come on, he's the OG homie, bro. He's been supporting the SMT for man, it's been a while. At least I don't know, Running
Over a
Flame about
year.
a year at least.
Hey,
About a
Sneed, how
year,
do I find the share information? Oh, invite.
There you
There
go.
we go.
Yep, you got it.
It's going to be in the private chat here.
Big shout out to Team Pixel. Tim, thanks for coming by. Zero to the coolest. Dennis, bestphoneplans.net podcast channel. And they've got the website as well. You guys know Dennis by now. You know him and the Bearded Dragon are staples of the podcast for sure. And I don't know, maybe we'll try to do this a little more frequently. You know, this particular group of individuals as I don't know, it was a pretty productive discussion, so it was good. Big shout out to everybody for the super chats. Thank you so much. For everyone that liked the video and shared it, thank you. That helps out the channel very much. And let's do the hashtags. We got hashtag 2LiveCrew, hashtag Replay Crew, hashtag Ravioli Gang, hashtag Mod Squad. There was a hashtag we did earlier. Was it hashtag Grishecki? Grabeski? What was it?
Rebesky.
Yeah, it was the scallops, bro. It was the scallops, dog. Yep. And we got a new one, bro. We got a new one. Hashtag all the smoke. I felt like that one was very fitting, you know. Hashtag all the smoke.
Also, Troy, Sundays are no good for me. That's D&D night, and also when all my assignments are due for school.
Oh, snap. That's a busy day for the dental. That's right. All right. That's it for this one. Anything for the good of the order, gents?
No, thank you as always, Sneed, and I look forward to many future podcasts.
You're the best,
thanks,
man.
bro.
Appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. We
Yeah.
out this piece.
Take care. Give my regards to Yasmin.
Will do, man. See you guys. Peace.